And Tampa Motormouth in the zone once again. Both bonus Sports Shuffle Insanity. Still with
Flying Ryan Gilchrist being goofy now.
Oh, well, when aren't we goofy?
Good point.
Unless we're being like Donald or we're being Mickey, then we're not being goofy.
I'd prefer to be a Muppet. we just
wacka wacka.
Between the end of the last one and the start of this one, it has been nothing but extreme silliness.
Wacka. Because what happened was didn't miss the tape, and I put it in the show description, but in case you're wondering why all of a sudden, and we're going in really quickly, well, let's just say that when you drink a lot of liquid and caffeine, you get to the point that it's...
Still had to pee.
Yeah, it's like to the point that Captain is like Scotty... Is the volume working? There we go. And like a Scotty from Star Trek, it's like a Captain the bladder.
Still had to pee bad.
The bladder, it can't take much more of this. But of course, that's probably already way too much TMI, more than you...
He said a bad word. He said, piss! He said bad things.
Luckily, that one didn't make the tape.
He had to be bad.
Thank you for the extra editorial. So, what we were...
Only here to help.
What we're here for to do now, as we're making sure that the...
Technical adjustments so you can hear things I say, like, Joel got pee.
Let's try...
Adjustment on the fly.
Sorry, didn't mean to bump y'all. Hope y'all are okay. But, testing?
Testing. Okay, good, it works.
Okay, it does? It does, yeah, okay. So, anyway, because of the aforementioned having to see a man about a horse real quick like...
Had to pee.
And I was really makes me wonder, and I'm sure as you're probably thinking to yourself, how people who do like 4-hour radio shows, now granted it's not all 4 hours of the radio shows, usually it's about 20 minutes a segment from what I've seen.
Yeah, 15 and 20, and then I'm sure they're running down the hall, gotta go to the bathroom real quick, or they have the 2.5 minute commercial break.
Because it's either that or you don't drink or you don't starve, but you have to drink water to keep the voice from like cracking.
Or you have a bucket.
Yeah,
and that is a gross option, but it's viable.
True, and that's just this is one thing that I'm wondering for all of those professional sports broadcasters or news broadcasters or DJs on the music stations. You know, like you just how do you guys because you can only hold it in for so long. But of course, anyway, we're already getting way off the tangent.
Bet you won't click on bonus insanity again.
Oh, well, that's why we call it insanity. But anyway.
So far, we've only talked about Joel's bladder problems at the end of the last show.
Anywho,
in fact, he had to pee.
Yeah, I did. I did?
Yeah, you did.
What about Q?
We were making...
I didn't have to Q or S either, right?
No.
Or T? Just P.
Just P. I don't...
Not A.
He didn't have to S. I know that for sure. It didn't take that long.
Okay, yeah. Can you tell we haven't done this in a while live, and we're just sort of like it's...
But, hey, we're above making poop jokes. Not really.
So, no, I don't... Is there anything that we're not above? Well, I'm short, so there's actually a lot of things that I'm not... But the real reason we're doing bonus insanities, and we've already actually been absolutely nuts for 3 minutes already,
woo!
Is we were planning on doing a debate as well as wanting to do final thoughts and a real, honest to goodness, a generic sponsor.
Generic sponsors!
That one of the generic sponsors wasn't...
I gotta pee!
Rushing to the toilet or flushing. So, yeah. So, if we can get serious, not...
What?
That we aren't already.
All crazy all the time. What's serious about that?
Well, every once in a while you do have to get serious.
You said do.
Oh, okay.
After the whole... Alright, anyway, let's get this crazy train on some kind of railing.
Was it on the railing to begin with?
No, we are so far off the rails on this crazy train. Parody.
I don't think we even got started at the right station. I think we were like going backwards.
You ever seen the beginning of Super 8? We're kind of like that.
Oh, okay. Got it. So, we actually wanted to do a serious debate about Lance Armstrong, because we were yakking about that with the actual non-show prep that kind of actually wasn't show prep.
Yeah, the pre-show talking back and forth to come up with ideas. And we had the idea to do the debate, but then again, we're us, so we kind of went way over our time limit, and now we have to do it separately. And now we're 5 minutes in and still haven't even started.
Well, Well, I guess you could say this part is like batting practice for podcasting.
It is. It's kind of sad.
Anywho,
But it's kind of awesome at the same time. So
with the whole thing about Lance Armstrong, now your position is, I don't think really amazingly different than my position is, but with me it's a matter of, I'm one of those people that I take a very small, minute point or two or three, and that's my entire argument. But I think these are valid points, because with the whole Lance Armstrong thing, I ended up reading the whole thing. They're going to strip him the title and all this and all the titles, and all of a sudden my brain was just spinning, because I'll be honest, now I don't know how much you've actually paid attention to the story.
a little bit. Enough.
I've paid even less little than you have.
Okay.
So, I know he's a very successful cyclist who overcame cancer, and that's something, as I can be serious, that is something that's touched close to home recently. So, and that's when you're thankful for everybody being around. But that being said, now my minor technicality points that I bring up are the two following points. Number one, how does a USADA investigation supersede a federal investigation? And point dos would be, now granted, I know he is an American athlete. The USADA is an American agency, an American association with influence over American athletes, but said American athlete in this case took part in an international event. This international event, unless I'm totally missing something that's like way beyond the obvious, is not under the umbrella of America or any American agency at all, unless I'm missing something.
No, the only thing I can think of is that the individual countries who send participants have to be in some sort of agreement about what their limitations are, what lack of limitations there may be. But besides that, I can't think of any real jurisdiction they would have over an international body like this.
That'd be like the United States, some agency in the United States having a problem with something that happens in the International Olympics. If I'm using a fair comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but it shouldn't happen. And this is being made, I think, way more into a big deal than it really is. I know my point of view is that he with the cancer, he had to use steroids to recover. That is not something even he denies.
And I think he even had the legit script.
Yeah, he had the prescription. They could prove, okay, he needed this to get better. He needed this to rehabilitate. It wasn't that he was doping during the Tour de France, like Greg Landis. Can't remember his first name, but he won and almost immediately got stripped because he was caught doping during the race. And this is a sport that they test pretty much daily during the tour, and you're going to get caught. He raced, I think, 10 or 12 times. He won 7 of them in a row. Never failed a drug test. So my big concern is how, and I understand that they're trying to bring charges, and he pretty much just got to the point where enough is enough. And we've all been there with different issues. This one just happens to be something that's going to be called on for him by the media and the international media and sports in general. But he's been dealing with these allegations arguably since he won his first one. And that was in 1999. It's been 13 years since these allegations come up, and I can't blame him for saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm done dealing with it. Do what you want. And
So does if I can interject here, so does his not wanting to fight the allegations in this case not, because if you think that somebody doesn't want to fight allegations, automatically, well, that means they're guilty.
Well, there is that argument that, he just doesn't want it to come out in a court that it's proven. And there's also the other side of the coin where he goes, you know what, I know who won those tours. Everybody I raced with and against knows who won those tours. And you know what, if they want to take it away technically, go for it. And that's, his kind of mentality is, I know I won those 7 tours. I know what I had to do to get there, and I know I did it cleanly. And I can rest in peace knowing that I know that I did nothing wrong Whether or not you want to change the text in a history book, be that as it may, that's your call. But all in all, I don't know how, after 13 years, never having actually failed a test. I think there was one he failed, and then it came back that it was a contaminated sample, and then the B sample came up clean, or something like that once. But never actually having failed a test to the point where they could ban him or remove titles. They're doing this kind of, let's say without evidence, they're kind of making the innocent until proven guilty thing reversed.
I've seen the W word used, witch hunt.
It is a little bit of witch hunt. Now, given, when you look at a witch hunt, usually you're looking for a very, very small majority, or very, very small minority, I should say, in a very, very large group. Like with the baseball and steroids, it wasn't as big of a problem as it was made out to be, but there were some out there, and as we talked about in the last one, lately it's been Cabrera and Colon.
And then Braun last year, who won the...
Braun, who beat it. He didn't do it, and
he won the batting title. And
won the batting title, the MVP, and
even though it was a semantic, it was the specimen was the sample was improperly handled, and
and then the B sample came up clean, and nothing happened because he didn't do it. But that was more of a witch hunt because you're looking for a very, very small group of people. After all this testing had been started, all the talk of the testing had been started, that we're still continuing to do steroids, and it comes up, maybe 5 to 10 times a year somebody gets caught, unless you're in the Rays minor league system, then there's something going on every other day. But in cycling, there's a lot more there. You'll get people every year in the Tour de France getting booted from it because they test positive in stage 12 or something. And they're done. They don't let them finish the race because, you're cheating. And usually you're losing and you're cheating. So, I do find it hard to believe that...
This sounds like a really good time.
Yeah. I do find it hard to believe that he was doping the entire time, got away with it, has been tested since, and never got caught. And he's just that good at dodging drug tests to actually never have been proven anything. And... there's the people that'll say, he's given up. Obviously, he's guilty. And there's the other side of people that'll say, you know what? If someone was coming after me for 13 years over some BS, I'd have a real hard time just saying, screw it. I don't care.
Devil's advocate. Do you think, other than when he needed it for the cancer, that you think at any time he ended up taking it for a non-health reason?
Personally, no. I don't think he did anything outside of that. Now, there might have been a time that he had some kind of issue with a knee or something that wasn't, let's just say, someone's actually listening.
Yeah, well, thanks for your neighborhood almanac. So thank you for listening. Welcome to the show. Saw the notification camp come up.
But it's just one of those things that I don't... If he had another injury like a knee or something, steroids do help with that injury. You see it after surgery to rebuild tissues and all that. It is a medicine. First, if it's abused, it is a lot different. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you. No problem. Okay.
So that's it. I like the new website. Just going off topic a little bit. I like the new website.
When are we on topic?
Yeah, that's true too.
Occasionally we're on topic.
But that being said, I just don't see... If it was medical, you could prove it. And there was never anything that I saw that proved that he did it otherwise. So it's hard for me to believe that it's not just him going, I'm sick of dealing with this. I can't take it anymore. My family can't take it anymore. And he's got to pay for lawyers. And he's got to do all this jumping through hoops. At the same time, if it was one of us, and given we're never going to be in this extreme situation because none of us are going to go overcome cancer and win the Tour de France 7 straight times, I don't think. It would be hard to say that myself included would have the patience for 13 years to go, I didn't do it, have every single governing body go after you, get tested, and pass the test, not be caught, and then 13 years later, they're still trying to show you.
Questioning sessions and interrogations, because I'm sure that's what they felt like.
Yeah, exactly. He's got it, like you said, it's a lot like a witch hunt where they're just going after him because they believe something, they think something, but they have no evidence. And at some point, you just go, screw it. Take away the titles. I know who won. My family knows who won. The people I competed against and with know who won. And they know we did it cleanly. And That being said, I hate to think that it's going to come out that he did, and he just decided it's time to duck it because there was enough evidence. But I don't think that's the case with this one.
As opposed to, for example, Roger Clemens, another name, and all that craziness with all that trial, who is now once again in minor league baseball.
Minor league baseball. He's not going to come all the way back. I just don't see it at 50. I mean, it's possible we've had older people play in sports later than that, but it just seems like the time where a 50-year-old can be playing a professional major league sport, whether it be NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, anything like that, I think it's beyond it.
Crawford with the whole Tommy John and all that money. I mean, Dwight Howard. We talked about him in the last show, and his one question is did the Magic did get the most out of trade because of his back problems. So.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's still fairly young.
Yeah, injuries nowadays are a big concern, especially with longevity. And I think Roger Clemens in his last start had pitched about 20 years, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't see him getting stronger because it's just not how human beings work. They don't get stronger as they get older. That was the big argument with Barry Bonds with steroids, was that he got to a point where he was scrawny, and then all of a sudden he got huge.
Heads aren't naturally that big?
Yeah, he got huge out of nowhere. So it's hard, again, to see Roger Clemens building up at 50. You're going to get weaker, you're going to get slower, more sluggish, and that's just the nature of being a human being in the world.
Okay, good debate here, since I know we said we were planning on only doing this for 15 minutes, but we're getting a good thing.
We had 5 minutes of nonsense in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. involving letter P. And we're not going back on that tangent yet. Anywho, with the whole debate that they say, and I don't know, personally, with me, I don't know, now you're more of an athlete than I have ever been. I'm a virtual athlete with video games. You actually play and have played sports.
And dealt with injuries.
And coached.
And coached.
So, with what do you buy with the whole question that PEDs, that the steroids do not, for example, help you to hit a ball better? What?
It doesn't help you hit the ball better. It doesn't help you with the technical skills. I mean, you could use performance-enhancing drugs all day to jump higher, to run faster, but if you can't make a shot in basketball, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can't make a shot. It doesn't help you, hit the ball, because if you don't have timing, steroids don't help your timing. They don't help your eyes. They don't help your vision. Actually, they probably hurt your vision overall. I mean, NFL is probably the only sport that it really helps because there's a lot more muscle. I mean, yeah, if you can't throw the ball properly like Tim Tebow, steroids are not going to make you from a Tim Tebow or a David Carr from back in the day or a Ryan Leaf into a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees type. It's not going to happen like that. So, to say...
Kevin Kolb, the new one?
Kevin Kolb's getting close. But to say that steroids make you a better player is not true. To make you a better athlete is 100% true, because it does make you physically stronger. But at the same time, it does have its uses in medicine, like with repairing knee problems. And I have knee problems of my own. I've never gone through surgery, never had rehab, never had steroids on them. However, if I ever do go through surgery, I'm fully expecting to have that because that's what helps. It's a medical procedure at that point. But if you do not know how to skate, using steroids is not going to put you in the NHL. Point blank. If you cannot move, you do not know how to, make a slap shot. Yeah, when you get it right, you might shoot at 107.
So steroids, the one time that I tried to ice skate, I ended up falling on my posterior. So if I ended up taking steroids, they wouldn't turn me into an Olympic figure skater.
No, it wouldn't. And, I just picked up rollerblading in the last week, so it's something I never got to do as a child. If I start doing steroids, my time might get a little faster, but that's not going to stop me from falling face down in the dirt because I'm trying to look at my phone and see what kind of time I'm posting. And yes, I'm the dork that posts tries to keep track of my time. So it's. Wait,
so what newsflash? I mean, people actually, while they're doing things, actually look at their phone. Really? That happens?
Well, I have an iPhone. It's got a stopwatch on it, and then you get updates on the Rays game, and you're like, oh man, I want to know what's going on, especially when it's a close game. And then you realize the Rays are going to lose because they're playing the Rangers, and it's one-run game.
We did hit a new low as the Rays were first team, I saw this on Twitter, since 1955 the White Sox did it, were the first team to lose 4 1-0 games in the same calendar month. So, that's I'm not even going to press the button. I'm just going to do it myself. Bum, 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 bum.
It's just kind of funny that there are nights this Rays team can go out and get 10 runs. Like the night they played Anaheim, we're down 8-0 in 1 inning, tied it up.
That's when Carlos Pena actually hit.
Yeah, and they score 8 runs in 1 inning, and then they'll go a week and a half and score 8 runs combined in 9 games or so.
Weeks worth in that 1 inning.
And that's the thing. The Rays, getting way off topic from the steroids and Lance Armstrong debate, the Rays are one of those teams that if they hit,
tangenting alert.
If they can hit, it's a World Series team. And you've seen it with Longoria back that they hit a lot better. Without Longoria, without the offense, this team arguably isn't a playoff team. They're not. They have great pitching. Yeah, exactly. They have great pitching, but if your pitchers have an ERA of 2 and you score 1, you're losing more than you're winning.
Or if you score a half.
If you score half, then you got some kind of weird math where like your torso came apart and only half your body hit the plate, the other half dropped on the third base line or something.
Okay, quick before we get into final thoughts, and not a shortened version of generic sponsors when yours truly is rushing for the executive sports shuffle.
He had to pee.
Thank you for the translation.
I do.
But
I speak a lot of language. Apparently, metaphors into reality is one of them.
Oh, okay. Well, I like metaphors. What's wrong with metaphors? Keeps everyone guessing. If you talk a lot in metaphors and stuff, you know what happens? You actually get in less trouble because people have no idea what it is the heck that you're talking about. So
to our live listener, sorry for the pod language.
Yeah, art
pun intended.
Yeah, and thank you for not flushing us. Okay.
Bum.
Yeah. You see, I have to sort of contain my puns because I can, as Ryan can attest.
Yeah, to contain his bladder too. We're going to begin and end with urine, and in the middle we're going to have a really good debate about Lance Armstrong, have some actual coherent thoughts.
Okay, getting back on to the train, the question was, I was curious about to this NFL preseason, that it seems to me, and I don't know if it's just me, that there seems to be more injuries, I think, than I can ever remember any season, because usually you don't have injury. I've already had to drop somebody from my fantasy team, and the season hasn't even started yet, and you're having wide receivers with exposed, open bones. You're having running backs who are getting walloped. You're having LeGarrette Blount, who's back in the lineup. It looks like Doug Martin's going to win that job. And yay, I've had one of the fantasy teams. Woohoo! So, and you have LeGarrette Blount, who gets walloped. You're going to have Michael Vick, who got walloped and knocked around.
Twice.
And it's just, what's it going to look like? By week 6 or 7, I ended up joking with a couple people that I said, for fantasy football this year, we're going to have to monitor practice squads of teams.
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. But then again, also, the technology of finding injuries, especially such things like concussions, is a lot easier now. Austin Collie again getting another concussion.
That's if you have him on your team.
Frankly, that's a guy who needs to retire before he ends up a vegetable or with permanent mental paralysis, damage to his mind or something like that. And I say that not joking at all. We'll make some jokes that are a little off, but when you're talking about brain injuries, it's by far the most dangerous injury you can have. If you blow out your knee, it's going to hurt to walk. Yeah, you got to go through some painful rehab.
It doesn't cause your logic to misfunction.
Yeah,
your cognitive skills, your memory,
who
you are as a person.
Yeah, it's completely changing. If you get hit in the right spot, you can forget your entire life. You can go home to your family, your wife and kids, and not know who they are. It's scary. And you've seen some of these players, they die early. You look at Junior Seau, who had a bunch of concussions and
led to depression,
and led to suicide. And it was one of those things that when he played, it wasn't an issue. It wasn't something that was well known. It was, he's got a concussion, he'll be out a week, and he'll come back.
And then the other thing is that you hear all the stories of the players who may have hid. I don't know how many concussion collectively the NFL players have hit because they wanted to be able to play the next week because that's their job.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you are an athlete and you're a player on a team, you want to play. Because first of all, that's what you love to do. You wouldn't be playing a professional sport if it wasn't what you absolutely loved. And if you're gifted enough and you love it enough, you're going to want to play whenever you can. And also, if you're playing a team sport, like if you're playing tennis or golf and, somehow you get hit in the head and have a concussion, you're only letting yourself down.
Could that happen in badminton?
It can. It's unlikely, but it can, especially if you're part of the Olympics that are going to corrupt things. But
and throw the matches if you solve that.
Yeah. Between that and the boxing, there was a lot of weird stuff in the Olympics this year.
Trampoline gold medal, people got gold medal for trampolines.
Yeah, dong dong. Yeah. But
something's going on.
Yeah, but if you play golf and you get hit in the head by a golf ball from the group behind you, and they're hitting at 200 yards, it's going to be hard to hear. You pull out of that event, you let down the fans if you're a Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, but if you're a middle-of-the-pack guy, maybe a Vijay Singh at this point.
If you're a Sergio Garcia, does it matter?
Right now he's playing pretty well, but someone who's the middle of the pack, doing okay, not really a big name. You get hit in the head, you pull out, nobody cares. You're on a team, you have the rest of your team you're letting down. I mean, just going to the hockey, and me being a San Jose Sharks fan, they actually did something on NHL.com.
You're a San Jose Sharks fan?
No.
I never knew that.
They did something on the Sharks. They're doing like the 30 and 30 kind of thing. They did it on Sunday, and they had a big thing about Martin Havlat. And they showed the record with him and without him. Without him, they were 18, 18, and 7. With him, they were around 28, 14, and 3, or something ridiculous like that. The winning percentage was just so much different. And
Havlets, have-nots?
Havlets have not, have a lot, have nothing. And it was just one of those seasons, and you could kind of feel it towards the end of the season when he came back, that his team had a little more going, but he never had that continuity. But you can just see, I mean, if someone went to Martin Havlat and be like, if you wouldn't have gotten hurt, this team probably would have been the number 1 seed, had a better shot at the Stanley Cup. He's going to wish he could, given a hamstring injury is not a concussion, it's not something you can physically fight through, because you can't move. But if it was something he could have conceivably pushed off to the side to keep playing, and you look at that record, he might have done it. Now you look at someone like Sidney Crosby, who missed a year and a half or so of play because of a concussion on what looked to be a fairly innocent hit between the Winter Classic against Washington and the following game against Tampa Bay. And he missed a year and a half, came back for a couple games, and then was out again for a while. You gotta understand that these concussions, we're going to get back to Austin Collie on this, they're very, very serious, and you can just see how much damage they can do. So, and that's one injury that you're not going to be able to fix by steroids, you're not going to be able to fix by anything like that. So it's something that you really have to monitor, you have to be honest with, and you have to take care of, or you're going to find yourself out of the league early, permanent mental problems, or dead. I mean, brain injuries are probably one of the easiest ways you can die playing a sport.
And just a quick minute or two, because I know you can go about another 100 minutes just on hockey alone, because that's your specialty. But with
crap, I know where this is going.
Yeah. What are your feelings? Because they said there was a second proposal today. That's why I said only a minute or two, because I know this is not the fun stuff that because you never, anytime you hear CBA, that usually
CBA, lockout,
not fun
work
stuff.
Stoppage, anything with that in sports. And while we're on the topic of bargaining agreements, the refs and the football, the NFL is preparing to go into the season with these replacement refs, and that, if you've been watching the games, is an absolute travesty.
What do you think that'll do for fantasy football?
I don't know how much it'll do, because that's mostly penalties. I mean, it's not going to necessarily affect stats as much. I mean, if anything, they're going to probably miss calls that are going to help certain players with incomplete passes and maybe extend drives by making bad roughing the passer calls or miss little things that the normal refs will get right. So for fantasy, it might actually help. But as far as the actual game, you're going to see teams in the first week like Pittsburgh and Denver, who played last year.
Why there have been more injuries?
It's possible. I don't think so. I mean, they're not getting hurt on dirty plays. Like Austin Collie didn't get hurt because some guy came over the middle just headhunting. It happens. Helmet-to-helmet collisions, because you duck down. Naturally, you're going to try and protect yourself, and you put your head down, and they tell you, go for the numbers. But if you put your head where the numbers are, all of a sudden your head's right where you're aiming. That's not a dirty play. It's bad luck. It's technically form tackling.
Just got the
it's just
leap knocked out of it.
Exactly. So I don't think it's the refs, but it's going to be a rough year if they have the full year.
Maybe they need to give them 6 challenges instead of 3.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they got to up the challenges and just hope for the best. And they'll get better throughout because they're going to get more and more experience. So that should be okay. But
getting back to
going back to hockey.
Hockey, they said there's been a second proposal. We have the September 15th is the deadline day.
Yeah.
What is your, just kind of one or two quick minutes, what is your gut kind of tell you? Is your gut kind of like oblique, or does your gut tell you, okay, they hang in there, we may have a season and a full one at that?
My gut tells me a little bit of both. I do think, since the season starts early October, their deadline is September 15th. If it gets to that point, we're going to miss games. But I also do think that the full season being lost in 04-05 is not out of the players' mind.
The Lightning won.
Yeah. It's not out of the players' minds. It's not out of the owners' minds. It's damn sure not out of the commissioner's mind, because you still have fans that hate him for that.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And you think NHL is the lowest grossing major sports league. I mean, you can even put NASCAR above them.
Especially when they're on Versus and everyone is like, Versus? What channel is that?
Exactly. But you still think, ticket sales for 30 teams, 41 home games times 30, ends up being over 1,200 games. And that's just ticket sales they're losing. That's not revenue from concession stands. Parking. Souvenirs, memorabilia in-store that you're getting at the stadium. That's not including all the media rights, all the licensing and promotions and branding that you do. I mean, every team. Radio. I mean, you look at the I know around here you get all the Lightning, like last year was We Are the Lightning, Be the Thunder. You saw the television commercials, you saw the radio commercials, you had them doing that, going out in the community doing the charity events. I mean, you're not only hurting your league, you're hurting the charities, you're hurting the fans. And since the lockout, the league has gone from I believe it was a $2.1 billion revenue stream to a 3.3. They've recovered so well. Why kill it? So I think it will go a little beyond the September 15th deadline.
They lose from the 04-05.
That is hard to tell. I mean, they did change the game, and there are some people that don't like the changes. But at the same time, there's a lot of good that did come out of it. Overall, they just cannot afford to do it this soon after again. I do expect it to go at least up until that September 15th deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get it done until right before the season and maybe push it back a little bit. I don't think they're going to cancel enough of the season where they're going to lose games. They might have to push back another couple of weeks to get some training in there. But, I mean, right now the teams are all meeting. I mean, going back to what I read about Marty Havlat, all the coaches that have been there have said he's been working really hard. He looks tremendous because they are right now practicing like there's going to be a season, even though people like Evgeny Malkin have signed provisional contracts with teams in Russia just so, well, I want to play, I need to make some money if we do get locked out. And it's completely if, unlike the NBA players who went to China and got stuck in those contracts and couldn't come back. It's provisional. They kind of made sure the language said, if there's not a lockout, if there is a lockout, I'll be here. If not, I'm going to stay there. And if I come over here when the lockout ends, I'm going back. So, my gut tells me that it's going to be a sphincter clenching moment of dread when we get close to September 15th.
But cooler heads will prevail.
But cooler heads before October, mid-October at the very latest, will be ready for hockey. And they might have to push the season back a couple weeks, which would be difficult, but I don't think that we're going to lose games.
Better than the alternative.
Better than the alternative of losing an entire season. I don't even think it'll be as bad as the NBA one was. I think it'll be taken care of. Right now, they still have 2 weeks, so they might be trying to see how much the other side's willing to concede before it is desperation time. So they can kind of get a little closer, and then when it comes to desperation, they just really pound it out. And I don't think that they want to go through another lockout and work stoppage again. They can't do the damage again.
That would be like the song from Neil Young, The Needle and the Damage Done. Mm-hmm. And how would you like to, at this point, do a proper final thoughts and generic sponsors without any rushing anywhere involved?
All right, well, first of all, if we're going to do generic sponsors, we're going to start with the bathroom and pee and the pee jokes and the toilet jokes we've been making because, frankly, they've been the highlight.
I'd like to flush this part of the segment. Thank you.
But he had to pee. Anywho, Of course, very badly. I'm just glad the music kind of, like you were saying, you're glad and you're not glad the music overdid it. But we're also going to go with energy drinks, crappy technology like before, rogue idiots as we were talking about, painkillers, all that fun stuff, technology problems, because I think at least twice the mic has come undone.
I've got a rogue idiot driver for my final.
Rogue idiot alert. Anyway, so yeah, generic sponsor, pretty much the same as last time with the addition of bathroom and going. Make sure you hit stop because I got to piss. And that was the exact language that you missed at the end of the last show.
Maybe TMI would be a good generic sponsor.
TMI.
Probably in this case, too.
Yeah, a little bit. But as far as a final thought, we're getting close to college football season and the NFL season,
It'd be good to have on the field college football as opposed to off the field college football. I think
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the preseason polls and all of this.
Enough of what's happened over the summer.
Yeah, with Tyrann Mathieu and all this other garbage, Penn State. It'll be nice to see him back. Honey Badger don't care. He really doesn't. It'll be nice to see everything back on the field. Able to actually watch it, see the polls make some sense after a little while. And thank God it appears the BCS is officially dead. Which Playoffs, yeah. It might only be a 4-team playoff, but it's better than the BCS. At least somebody
anything is better than that.
I personally think it should be an 8-team playoff because you can get all the conference champions and then 2 others, at large. But that's, I think, in the works for a couple years off. So I guess the final thoughts would be thank God for football because the Dolphins are going to be bad. I think they're going to probably be a 6-win team. However, I think the Jets are going to be worse. No touchdowns so far through 3 preseason games. The only team in the last 35 years to be so inept. And frankly, when your starting quarterbacks of Mark Sanchez and your backup of Tim Tebow cannot collectively stand up to the awesome firepower that is John Skelton of Arizona, you have a major problem. I hear Jamarcus Russell might be needing some work. In New York, you might have to find him. And Terrell Pryor, even in Oakland, has been looking pretty good compared to Team Tebow and Sanchez.
Maybe Trent Dilfer could come out of retirement.
Yeah, I hear Vince Young's available. Hey, maybe Roger Clemens can come out and do something for them. I'm sure he's got a better arm than both Tebow and Sanchez.
So that's pretty much it for final thoughts.
Yeah, for final thoughts, is just thank God for football and thank God the Jets are going to suck.
That would be JETS.
Suck.
Pretty much. But my final thoughts are, because you mentioned idiot drivers, and if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know what's the one thing that I hate to do almost more than anything else in the world? Driving. Yes. Okay. So, and this is a question I actually have to ask to you: if this person deserved a horn or not, because you don't want to beep unless they actually deserve it. Now, here I am. I'm coming on the street. It's a fairly major street, and it's a 3-lane highway. Here I am. I'm at the light. Light turns green. Car ahead of me starts accelerating, and this is in the left lane. Car puts on their right-hand turn signal and stops dead. Now, we're not going too fast, so it's like nothing really happened, but they stopped dead in the left-hand lane. Do you not, even though their blinker is on, this is in the middle of the street, do you not blow the horn?
I think you kind of got to, because you're being too much of an idiot.
And they turned around, and they looked at me first, even before I blew the horn, but I'm like, I blew it anyway, because that was an idiot move. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. There's no arguing that.
You're in the left-hand lane. You do not just, I need to stop in the left-hand lane and look over. I'm guessing they might have been an out-of-towner.
Knowing where we're at right now, they probably weren't.
Yeah, that's true, too. There are some really, really stupid local
Hey, look, Leroy Selman. I'm going to go right, even though I'm nowhere near that lane. We just jump the median here.
That'd be sort of like the old Dukes of Hazzard show. Like some of these people driving, you hear a
the General Lee horn
as they try to jump over like onto the interstate or whatever.
Yeah.
But anywho, so that's my final thoughts. And
rogue idiots.
Oh boy, maybe that should be like a new segment. That should be like a
the Rogue Idiot segment.
Rogue Idiot drivers. That can be a new segment since we have them whether we're in your neck of the woods or up here. It's easily. Just amazes me that all of a sudden people get behind the car and they leave the brain, of course, which brings the question: some of them may have not had a brain even when they got in the car to begin with. A brain. Exactly. So, with final thoughts and kind of generic sponsors crammed together, I think it'd be good so much for the 15 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, oh well. Bonus Insanity goes extra bonus.
Well, that's why we call it Insanity. It's bonus, it's insanity, so that means there are no rules. I mean, there are rules, but there are no rules. But anyway, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and give us a follow us like us on Facebook. Follow us on like us on Facebook. It's been one of those days. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Sports Shuffle.
Shuffle Ryan 13.
And like us. I don't know if you can't like anything on Twitter, right? I don't think so. Well, you could technically...
You could favorite, and then it'd be all like, oh man, you really like this.
You could technically retweet something and then type in like. I know
that's true.
And if you have like that thumbs up signal, like if you have like a smartphone or something, then you can put the like thumbs up after the like. So I guess you could technically like something.
It's too much mentality for me to figure out right now.
But tonight, okay, I'm picking the... Who are you picking with the raisin? That's when your brain goes way out here, and then you have to bring it back. Oh, wait. Let's not even go there.
Let's not go there.
Even though they said none of the starters are going to play at all, who are you picking for a game that means absolutely, positively nothing? The preseason Buccaneers against the Redskins. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick the bed. Because, frankly, if you're watching it... No, I'm kidding. I would say it's going to be the Redskins just because I don't want to pick the Bucks.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to say it's going to be the Bucks just because they beat the Patriots last week in a preseason game, even though they lost Davin Joseph for looks like the season. You know, we're talking about injuries earlier. And that'll be my pick. Do you think the Rays are going to win any of this Rangers series at all, or are they just going to be swept?
I think they need to. They need to win something out of this because they can't start losing games at this point in the season with the wild card being within reach and completely up in the air with about 5 teams involved. So they got to keep winning some games. And the Yankees aren't that far ahead, and you are much better off winning your division than having to play a 1-game playoff to see if you actually make the real playoffs. So, got to win some games.
Anyway, I'll end with my ending, and then I'll let Flying Ryan actually take us out. As I usually end when I'm solo with, that's it for me. You're still you, and personally I'm gone, and I'll let Flying take us out.
And thank you guys for listening to us ramble for, if you listen to both, almost an hour and a half today. Be sure to check us out next Wednesday.
We're making up for lost time.
Lots of lost time. But be sure to keep tabs on the Facebook page. Keep an eye on the Twitter and Tumblr, all the websites that we do this thing on, because we are trying to do this a little more regularly. Hopefully every Wednesday around 3 to 3:30 or so.
As regular as my trips to the restroom.
Speaking of which, we gone because I got to pee.